I think about the question this way, that a symphony needs skilled players, teamwork, and instruments, and a stage. Artists need sketch pads, canvases, paints, pens, charcoal, a place for sharing their creation. Scientists need lab equipment, computers, and colleagues to share their results with. These are all examples of resources for different groups who find common purpose in creating common meaning to realize their inspirations and be creative together. And so I think communities are like that too. Communities that want to craft a future based on good health, on an environment in which thriving can occur, and where equity can be part of what is built into the community. All that takes resources too. For people to be able to create the future they want together, they need resources. And so for us at the Breathe Project, we bring together a core of knowledge about air quality and public health. We've got a technology platform such as high resolution cameras, monitors. We bring support to community members seeking to organize. We do coordination support for connecting people in campaigns and communication support in helping communities find their voice about air quality concerns in their community. And we help communities steer these resources so that systemic barriers to progress on community health can be spotlighted. It can be, people can be engaged in the campaign so that transformation can take place, so that community can achieve its goals for a healthier future. I view this as no one can change the world alone. No one can fully develop their creativity, find their voice, and engage in meaningful activity alone. Resources are essential. Resources are the most important differentiators between communities and groups of people who struggle and communities who can thrive. Resources require investment and stewardship. This can only happen if there are people present who care, who dedicate the energy, time, emotional support, who listen for what's needed and find ways of responding, and for people who commit to a common purpose. That's why resources are important. I see vibrancy in the way that people are coming together to overcome several structural and systemic issues at once, because there are many connections among those items. Racism, the location of industrial facilities, inadequate housing, underinvestment in education, and air quality are all intertwined systemic issues. Communities are recognizing they have the esteem to develop a voice and use that voice to choose a different course with health at the center. That voice, to me, is the embodiment of vibrancy. Hopeful about the future. So I think back to a luncheon that I had 20 years ago. I had lunch with Herb Simon, who is from Carnegie Mellon. He was a world-renowned Nobel laureate in economics. He was a founder in the field of artificial intelligence and a major contributor in the area of history and philosophy of science. At the time, I had mentioned some of the work I was doing in the area of sustainability, as well as the frustrations that I was experiencing in trying to make headway in getting acceptance of some of the ideas related to sustainability. And what he said to me was, significant change is something that's measured over decades. And so now, looking back 20 years later, I see how wise he was. Items so radical and arcane 20 years ago now seem commonplace. Just the idea of energy efficiency was radical, but now is commonplace. Issues of climate change, something that was rather arcane 20 years ago, is now everywhere. Community-centered organizing, just the idea that communities themselves can develop a voice, back then was rather a new idea, and now many people embrace that strategy. Sustainable and green products. community reinvestment, and finally, the idea of ending racism. I see what people who are younger than what I am and what they're working on, and I project forward for how those efforts might look 10 or 20 years from now. And that realization and that vision are a great source of hope for me. And so I celebrate the work that everyone's doing in helping bring about the healthier future that we all want.